what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Exchange on the Mesh Podcast Network, a monthly conversation about startups and small business with ideas, tools, and advice to operate your business more effectively. On today's show, is it time for robots to join your small business? Have robots taken over the Entrepreneur Exchange? We'll share an article about how our new robot overlords are starting to be integrated into small business. We've got a homegrown startup with us today, Megan and Anthony Bourne with Bourne Southerner. They're here with us. They're going to share ideas on how to market their business and tell us how they got started and how they're doing. Finally, we'll wind up with our Small Business of the Month feature, where we'll highlight some interesting businesses that you should be checking out. Greetings. My name is Jeff Newell. I'm your co-host and director of the Small Business Center at Catawba Valley Community College in Hickory, North Carolina. And I'm joined by my co-host, Gary Muller, who is Dean of the School of Business, Industry, and Technology at Catawba Valley Community College in Hickory. Gary, how are you doing? How are you enjoying your summer?
Jeff, I'm doing great. It's been a busy summer. It's been gone fast. It's hard to believe that we're getting ready for the fall semester already.
Well, we're sitting here in beautiful western North Carolina. It's late July. It's a little sweaty out there.
Yep.
You know, you getting everything done that you need to get done?
My wife says no, not quite.
Well, you need to get working.
I'm working. I got a list today. That's what I'm going to be working on later today.
Well, you know, the kids will be back in school in August. You're going to be working. Not that you've started. You haven't stopped working.
No, it's I got to get all the personal things done.
It's tough being a dean.
I don't know about that.
Well,
but I appreciate the thought.
Well, so. Yeah, I'm always looking for interesting articles.
Yes.
And the one that I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you're familiar with the Roomba vacuum cleaner, the little vacuum cleaner that sort of moves around the floor all by itself, cleaning up your dog hair and whatever other messes you've left.
I am familiar with it. I'm
Okay.
wondering whether it would work in my house.
Well,
because we do have a dog.
Well, I didn't know, and perhaps that you didn't either, but the Roomba is an example of what's called a collaborative robot, or a cobot, term I was not familiar with, and they're starting to show up in small businesses working with humans, not replacing them. And the article I saw was in the July-August issue of Inc. magazine, article by David Whitford, and he provided examples of how robots are starting to be within reach of small businesses and what their applications can be. And he was talking about how cobots are very good for precise, repetitive tasks. And an example in the article was a company which made hospital pagers, and they had a high product failure rate due to the inconsistency of human assembly. So they started using a cobot to apply a spot of sealant in the product's housing, and they were able to reduce their failure rate to under 1%, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was an amazing improvement.
And they're saying that you can purchase your own cobot for somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000, which isn't cheap, but it's not beyond the reach of some small businesses.
Yeah, particularly if you reduce the error rate so dramatically, it'd probably have a pretty quick payback, I would think.
I think if you can go from a double-digit failure rate to 1, there's some pretty good savings to be had there.
That's what I was thinking.
So the article has some tips that if you are interested in using a cobot, ways that you can do it that I thought were very interesting, a little bit amusing, but I thought would be fun to share. Mm-hmm. Number one, if you're going to use a cobot, you want to first off pick your spots, make sure that you're using it for precise tasks, something like alignment or drilling in the same spot over and over and over. So you don't want to overextend there. You want to make sure it's doing something
just
within the
straightforward things that are going to be repeated over and over, just like you said.
There's some uneasiness with employees. They're afraid that they're going to be replaced by
you hear
cobots.
These things on TV and articles about how automation is going to replace all these jobs. So I think anytime you bring something in that's resembles what they're maybe thinking about, it's going to be some concern.
So important hint, you have to make sure that you properly introduce your cobot to your workforce and try to get them comfortable and say this is going to help you. It's not here to replace you.
Well, I think that's key, is because they don't necessarily want, they being the employees, the repetitive just banging or sealing, just like that example we talked about first thing, because they don't really want to do it. And that will free them up to do some more exciting things.
That's the plan, and the article is interesting in that said often the cobot cannot do it as quickly as people, but they can do it more accurately than people.
Right.
So it's you have to introduce them properly. There was a little bit of information about assessing risk, in that at this point in time there's no data on robots killing people in the workplace. But there was part of the article talked about a manufacturer in Minnesota who he had his doubts, so he programmed his robot to take a swing at him, and he said it hit me in a fleshy part of the body and stopped. He says no harm done. Just because a cobot won't knock you over doesn't mean that you can put any type of tool in its grip. And he goes on to say, you probably wouldn't want to put a chainsaw or some other dangerous type tool in the cobot just in case. So just important lesson.
We could do that and say that about some employees too.
Yeah, well, that's just probably an important lesson. I hope our listeners take away. If they've stayed with us through this, that you don't want to put a chainsaw in your cobot or robot's possession. Last point they made was, a lot of their customers found it very cool, and they found their cobot to actually be a tool for marketing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Think about the robots we use. Jim Thomas does with tours for the middle school and high school and our college students. They love that.
That's right. At our community college,
we talk about it.
We have some modest robots.
Yeah.
They've not tried to take over yet.
Well, I think they're kind of like this. They're not super sophisticated, but they do get people's interest.
Yeah. So far, so good for us.
Yes, of course, we've just taught them to dance.
That's right. Well, that's good, because you and I really can't dance.
People don't want us dancing.
So dancing
statement.
robots good.
Yeah.
Chainsaw robots not
good.
All right. Well,
I think we got that down. We're ready to go.
it's good when we can provide some education within the podcast.
Very cool.
All right. More importantly, we have some guests with us today.
Yes, I'm excited about this.
That we'd like to introduce. We've got Megan and Anthony Bourne, who started a company called Bourne Southern. So, Anthony, Megan, welcome to the Entrepreneur Exchange.
Thanks for having us.
Glad you're here today.
It's good to be here.
So, Bourne Southern is a family-owned and operated apparel brand based in Newton, North Carolina, which is right next door to us. And you specialize in designing and making faith-based inspirational apparel for women. They're original designs. You guys are doing all the development and the printing in-house, and they're designed to encourage, inspire, and uplift women that are wearing your product. And just for our listeners, when we say Bourne Southern, Anthony and Megan's last name is Bourne. It's spelled Bourne. I guess like Jason Bourne?
Yes, that's right.
We need to make a shirt for that.
Okay. But tell us a little bit about how Bourne Southern got started.
Okay, so it got started as a hobby back in 2013. I was making wood signs, actually. At the time, I did it as a hobby. So it was something that I kind of did in my spare time. We had just had our first son, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and so I wanted something to do that would keep me busy while he was down for his naps. That's changed a lot since then.
And were you using chainsaws at the time?
No, I was not.
cobots?
Not then.
Okay.
You might have given them a good idea for
I don't know.
Yes. So I was just making wood signs, and I started to sell online on Etsy, which I'm sure a lot of people know about. So I was selling on Etsy, and I noticed that my orders really started to pick up. So after time, I had to have Anthony actually help me. So he would help cut the wood or sand the wood or just do the little things that were really taking me a long time. And before I knew it, we were selling so much that it was either a point of we continue to pursue this route as a business, or I was going to have to stop doing it as a hobby, which it sounds kind of crazy, but, it had been a few years, and we had really started to build our brand back then as a wood sign business. There weren't a ton of small shops doing wood signs, and so we had a pretty good audience back then. And we made the decision that we would just start praying about it. We are a faith-based business, so our faith is very important to us. And so at the time, Anthony was working as, it's very funny to talk about it now, he was a product development manager for Delta Apparel, which, if you know, is one of the largest T-shirt manufacturers. And so he was a product development manager there. We began praying about the opportunity of taking on Born Southern full-time. And at the time, we did start, we were doing T-shirts. So we had introduced a few new products other than wood signs, but we were doing T-shirts. We thought that that was a good way for us to get our message out there, our mission, to encourage women. And at the time when we prayed about it, we really felt led for him to leave his job instead of the business side of it to kind of fizzle down. And so we said, okay, we're just going to take a leap of faith. And he went in the next day and quit his job. And lo and behold, a month later, the plant shut down. And so it's amazing to see. So, and we just haven't looked back since. Obviously, some things have changed. We no longer do the wood signs, and we've really pursued the apparel aspect of it. And it's been amazing at how the Lord has really grown that and used it in our lives and allowed us to use it in other people's lives. And that's the thing that we love about what we do, is that we have a mission to encourage people and to connect with people on a deeper level than just, hey, we sell cute T-shirts. And so that's kind of where that brings us to today.
So how did you guys come up with the name Born Southern, which I really like?
Yeah.
Did it just pop in your head, or what?
That was her idea. So it was...
Yeah, I can't even remember. A lot of times when I try to think of things like that, I just start writing down a bunch of things like, stuff that would pertain to what I was doing. And back then it was wood, signs, and that sort of thing. And I knew that I kind of wanted something to use the last name. So I just started kind of writing down things about, Southern. We live in the South. That sounds kind of catchy. And it just kind of came together, and it stuck, and it works. And the thing about it is that it's not really like Born Southern T-shirts or Born Southern wood signs. So we've been able to carry it as our product line has kind of evolved.
And if you listen to us talk, I mean, the Southern part is pretty obvious. So.
Yeah.
Well, and building a brand name is really a long process, and you guys have been at it since 2013. Are there certain things that you've done to help your brand name stick out there? Or is it just basically a thing of, here's our name, we're going to stick with it, and over time it just becomes accepted?
No, I think that we spent a lot of time developing the brand, and we thought about this probably, it's been about a year ago, because we were having to make some decisions on what exactly we wanted to be. And so we picked a mission that kind of transcended the signs that we were doing at that time. So we knew that our designs were really what were ours. Anybody can make wood or a sign or something like that, but our designs were what we would own. So when we started talking about how we were going to go forward, the first thing that we did is basically say, pick a target person or a customer that's going to engage with us and going to enjoy that. And for us, that was easy because Megan is actually our target customer. So that helps a lot. Yeah, it helps. So I mean, we don't have to go far to get what the person would want or anything. So when we were developing our brand over time, everything that we do kind of goes along with what she would be interested in, what is something that really speaks to her and engages to her, and then we just take those things and we put them out there, and that's where you get some of our designs, what the words on them, or maybe on our pictures on Instagram or articles that we put out there, all kind of going in that sphere of right. Our target audience. So.
Well, and you when we first met, it sounded like a lot of the marketing and advertising that you guys were doing was on social media, and you guys seem to have a great deal of success on Instagram. And tell us a little bit about how you guys have marketed your brand and And has Instagram been the vehicle that's been the best for you? And any tips that you can share with our listeners on how to get the most out of it?
Yeah, Instagram, I would say, has been one of our most powerful marketing tools. As a small business, we don't have tons of money like larger companies to put ourselves out there and to pay for ads and to do all of that sort of thing. And just the time that we live in now, Instagram and other social media is just a great platform for small businesses to get their name out there. So for us, we have right now, we're just right at 12,000 followers on Instagram, and we're around 1,300 on Facebook. Now, that's a huge difference. And the reason for that is a long time ago when I started doing social media marketing, I heard someone say, if you are a small business and you can't focus on all of these different platforms, focus on one and do it really well. And you can target your target audience that way. You can do it easily if you just focus on that one. If you're trying to spread yourself all over the place, then you might be spreading yourself too thin and not having any success from it. So with me, that was Instagram. And the reason that I chose Instagram is because it's basically like a big lookbook of your products. We don't really sell services. So for us, it's a visual thing. People see our t-shirts, they see our products, and if they see it on somebody that they can relate to, it makes them think, wow, I might really like that myself. Or it helps them just be relatable to us. So for me, the Instagram route was the way to go. I'm just now starting to work my way up on Facebook a little bit. There's totally different tactics or techniques, whatever you want to call it, for getting your audience to follow you on the different social media platforms. So for Instagram, just some tips that I'd want to say are to be engaging with your audience. That's a very important thing. The way that the Instagram algorithm works is you would like to think, I can post a picture up here, people are going to like it. But if you're not getting any engagement on your posts, if you're not interacting with your customers or your followers, Instagram's going to bump that post all the way to the bottom of the feed, and other people, potential customers, aren't going to see it. So one of the ways that you can do that is by posting really great photos. So you want to post excellent quality photos of your products or of your services or whatever it is, and do a call to action in your caption. So you really want to make sure that you're not just posting. If I were to post a picture of one of our t-shirts, I don't really want to say, hey, here's our blue t-shirt. You would want to say, hey, this is our blue t-shirt. Which design of ours would you like to see best on this new color material? And customers might start commenting down below, and it's really important to respond to that. So if somebody gives you feedback or somebody says something about that, you want to say, hey, thanks for the input. And it makes the customer feel like that you care about them.
They're part of it.
Yeah, that they're a part of it. And people want to be a part of something bigger, especially if it's someone that they're willing to buy from. I know that small businesses get a lot of support. And so for us, it's really important for our customers to know that we do care about them. We do care about the products that they like because they are buying from us, and we want to sell a quality product. So just engagement, quality pictures. Another really great way, and customers love this one, is giveaways. So you do giveaways of your products with your customers. We do collaborations with other businesses through Instagram. We may have never even met the business owners, but we would reach out to them and say, hey, we have a similar audience. Do you want to get together and do a giveaway? And so we would partner together, and each one of us might post a picture on our feed, and it lets the other person's customers know, hey, this company exists. You might really like their stuff, and vice versa for us. We would post it, and then they could see, hey, the other stuff that the other one likes. So it's a really neat way to network with other brands also. And
how do you do that effectively? Identify. I mean, that's exactly what makes sense.
Are you searching for them, or are they searching for you?
I do, and there are other companies that will do the same with me. So, there's tons of people on Instagram. So I would search. Another thing would be hashtags. So, like, say I post a picture, and you want somebody to find that we do graphic tees or inspirational posts or quotes or things like that. I would maybe search those hashtags for other companies or brands and realize that we would have a similar customer base. Or you could just search graphic tees, or apparel brands and things like that, and find people that have the same interests. You just reach out to them. It's very easy. You can just send them a direct message through Instagram and just say, hey, I noticed that we have similar products, or I think they'd be a great fit. Would you like to do a giveaway together? Would you like to do a collaboration? And it really helps get your name out there. It's a great way to do that. And it's probably one of the top techniques that we use in order to engage on Instagram, and one of the ways that has helped us really build our following on there.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you're not actually selling on Instagram, but do you drive people to your website and your e-commerce site from Instagram?
Yes, that's exactly right. So in the call to action, one of the things that we might say, I would post a picture of one of our shirts, or a mom, carrying her child in one of our Blessed Mama shirt. And I might say, if you are a blessed mom, you can go buy your own shirt at bornsouthern.com. And so that would send people over. They would see that mother carrying her child and say, hey, that, I could wear that shirt. I've got kids, I'm really blessed. And so it would send them to your website, and you would have a conversion there. There's a link in your bio on Instagram where you get a chance to do one link. So you want to put your website profile. There's other apps and things that you can do to kind of work around that to get more links. But if you're only going to do one, you want to put your website there, because that's how people are going to find your products. And so it's very important, like I mentioned, to do the call to action, and you can send them to your website. They can look around. Maybe they see something else on there that they like. It's a great way to do that.
No, I'll just add one thing too, that about the pictures. She was talking about how important the pictures are. One thing that's helped us tremendously, because it's expensive if you would hire a photographer to go take a bunch of great professional pictures, but there's a lot of people on Instagram that they love to do that. And so what she'll do, and she's had a lot of success at this, is reach out to people that take great pictures or that are like-minded accounts, and we'll send them a T-shirt or send them a bag or something like that, and just kind of do an exchange and ask for a picture in return. And so it provides us with, good content to post and use, and then they get a product, and it works out. And that's one way to kind of get more content, as far as high quality images.
That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was wondering, because obviously they got to be really good pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want them to be very professional. So.
Yeah.
And that can get expensive.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it's also nice that you're getting pictures of people in your products, using your products, and showing them off.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that's great.
And that's another important thing about the pictures, is that you want to post relevant content. Mm-hmm. We own an apparel brand, so I'm not really going to be posting recipes on my feed. We also offer our products wholesale, so I use it when I'm talking to potential retailers to say, hey, if you want to see what our brand represents, if you want to see more about who we are and what we offer, not just, the pictures that I send them on our line sheet, go over to Instagram and you can see. So they come there and they can see immediately everything that we offer. Whereas if we were doing Facebook, you might be able to post a little bit, other things that our audience, for example, women, I might post other things about home decor or things like that that's really going to draw them in, because Facebook, like I said, there's different techniques to get people in there, but on Instagram, you really want to focus on relevant content and images that when a potential customer comes there, they see that and they know, okay, this is what this company offers, this is what I can get.
Well, good deal.
You mentioned 12,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
Is it regional? Or is it across the country?
It's across the world.
Yeah.
Across the world?
Yeah, it's worldwide.
Wow.
And, that is something that I would say maybe over the last year or so, I've really tried to work and build our brand since we, took this business on full time. That was something that I knew I was going to have to do in order to make it successful for us, because you can reach people on the internet that you can't reach locally. There's a whole another audience, and there's pros and cons to doing the local thing and doing the thing on the internet, but for us, it's a way for me to interact with people who we may never see in person and to get the business from them.
And we do get the Instagram traffic that we get to our website. They're highly engaged and motivated. So 12,000. It blows me away, because you would think that's a small number, to be, but compared to some of the accounts.
I've got 15 people following me on Instagram. That 12,000 sounds pretty good. I don't know.
they're motivated and they're highly engaged in what we're about. And so when we do a sale or we send out a coupon or the traffic that actually of people that actually wants to buy is really high, and it's recurring, and so it's really good. And when you send out the T-shirts like we were talking about and getting the images, one thing about having other people post your pictures is it's a way to extend beyond your number. So somebody's got 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 that we don't have. It's a way to get because it would take us quite a bit longer to grow another 4,000 or 16 or 18. So.
We're talking about the fact that you guys, up until this point, have primarily done your business online via e-commerce, and I think you guys use Shopify as sort of your platform for selling online. And have you seen any pros and cons to being online? Obviously, you certainly have the opportunity to get to a bigger audience, but any things that you can share regarding your experience of selling online and pros and cons there?
Yeah, I think obviously, as you said, one of the pros is that we have there's just a huge amount of people that you can potentially reach. It sounds great, but the con to that is that you have to build a site or you have to build a relevant page that people trust, because when somebody comes to that website, if they don't trust it, then there's no way they're going to put their money there, or there's no way they're going to be invested in that. And so that's one of the hardest things, I would say, is starting your own site, and what you expect out of it is that getting people to convert, into sales, it's a difficult process, and we do use Shopify. And the thing I like about Shopify is that they have a lot of different tools that allow you to kind of continually reach out to people. And they have, if we need to run a certain kind of sale, we don't need to necessarily have a web designer, run an HTML program. Somebody's already designed that, and you could pay $5 a month as opposed to going with somebody and having to pay a lot more money to get a certain app. So it's got a ton of apps. A lot of them are free, and for just a low overhead, of running our website.
Did you build your website?
Well, it's a mixture. So we have Megan had somebody bought the theme, and then she adds in all the pictures and does that, and she could probably talk to you a little bit more about actually building that out and some of the difficulties of that. So,
yeah, we bought the theme for it, and it comes very basic. So, but anybody who knows how to use a computer can use it. You don't have to know HTML. Anybody, you don't have to know HTML, to do it. It's pretty like a nice template. You can plug in your pictures, but for us, we kind of wanted to take it a step further. I don't know much about HTML, but I am able to do the photo editing and to kind of get the layouts and the banners, and you can pay for separate apps. So one thing that's been really good, and it goes along with the customers trusting you, is the reviews. So we have tons and tons of customers who have bought from us, and up until recently, we did not have a review app on our website. I don't know what I was thinking, but we see a lot of people on our Instagram, and they'll come and they'll give us feedback, oh, your shirts are so soft, or we absolutely love the product. It's such high quality, and that's great for us to hear it, but unless another customer is coming reading through all of our Instagram comments, they're not going to see that. They can only go off of the pictures on the website, which great pictures help, great descriptions help, but customer reviews are just invaluable. And so we've got those on there now, so other customers can come and they can see, hey, it's not just these people telling us these shirts are great, that other customers are saying, hey, these are great. And so you can add on all of those different apps and really tailor your website around that and reach out, customize the colors, customize all of that stuff.
I was thinking about it because obviously you've got a great plan from the marketing standpoint. You have a good, strong, reliable manufacturer and supplier of the T-shirts. And
yeah, so we had to
think about when you were talking about the soft T-shirts.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we had to really search out at first. I knew a little bit about T-shirt and quality and design and that, so we really had to search out for somebody that was going to provide a really high quality shirt, because that was important for us to hit, the margins and really where our brand wanted to be. We didn't, you see a bunch of T-shirts that say, they put all kinds of sayings on there,
Like the
I'm stupid or, that kind of thing. And so you might $12 or something. So we had to find somebody that could supply that. And so that was part of the whole plan. And we did. And probably the biggest difficulty there is, managing inventory. It's difficult with the pair. I mean, we talked about this, Jeff, before we started, but just with sizes and colors, and each one you add is exponentially adds, inventory management. So we had to figure out a way where we could do that and still have cash flow, in our business and not go broke.
So we know when you put those lime green shirts on sale, that was probably not the right color.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. And I'll say about the website, getting customers in. You're going to have in e-commerce, you're going to have a lot easier time making a sale with a customer that has seen your site multiple times. And so one of the things that has helped us is that making that experience when they land on our page, one where they'll want to at least give us an email address so we can recontact them, because the chance that they're going to come back after that skyrockets exponentially. If they just land on there and they look at the page and click off, you're never going to see them again. More than likely, the odds are. So for us paying, you can pay for that kind of traffic, but if you pay for that and through Google ads or those kind of ways to get people, and even Facebook ads are good because you can get real targeted people. But if you do that, then once they land there, you've got to make sure that their experience is really good. You've got great pictures, you've got the relevant information that's going to make us stand out. And that's hard to do with a shirt because you have to figure out a way to tell somebody what great quality it is. They can't touch it. And that's one of the cons, to e-commerce. But once you can solve that problem with whatever product you have, I think you start to see some more success, You
have a lot of repeat customers, I assume.
Yes.
We do. Yep.
Yes, we do. And that's we're excited about that, because it means that once somebody can trust us enough to buy one shirt, they're going to see how great it is, and then hopefully continue to come back or buy with their friends, and that drives a lot of our business every month.
So for our listeners, you guys are relatively young, but you also have 4 young children.
Yes.
All boys.
Yes.
All boys.
5 and under.
So
God
you have 4 boys that are 5 and under.
Yes.
And the two of you are also running this business, and we certainly the gist of our podcast is about business and giving people ideas on how they can be successful, but there also has to be some issues in terms of balancing your life out there, and that sounds like quite the chore.
They're building a little group of cobots.
Cobots? Yeah, give them all chainsaws. That's a good idea.
Find a small room you can run away and hide to for like an hour out of the day.
Any hints for life balance when it comes to being an entrepreneur and having kids?
So one of the things that we love about owning our own business, because family is so important to us, is that we can call our own hours. So it's great because if we need to work on a Saturday, we can take Monday off. We love to go fishing. We love to be outdoors with our kids, and our kids love it too. So it's great for us to be able to work when we need to work. Our kids don't go to daycare either. They stay at home with us. We have a great Nana and Granny who love to watch the kids, and Papa. And the kids love to go to their house. So, maybe once or twice a week, a little bit, they get to go visit with grandparents. And that's great and gives us, some of the time that we need to take care of things that we can't really do while they're at the house. But we do work from home. So, it's really good to be able to call your own hours. We can work when we need to. We can spend time with the kids. And it's not easy. It's crazy all of the time. I think even if we had 1 or 2 kids, it would be crazy. But with 4, it's really crazy. Our youngest is 6 months old. So But we love it. We wouldn't have it any other way. We look at each other all the time and are like, would you go back to the way that it was before? And the answer is just immediately no. I mean, we absolutely love it. And
you got to have fun. I mean, we were getting dressed this morning. I was holding Reese, our little baby, and he was chewing on some little banana snack. So I go out to leave, we're walking out of the door, and Megan's like, you've got some kind of food on your shirt. And of course, that. So you pull it off, you throw it away. And then I'm stepping out the door and she's like, something's tied to your ankle. And one of my boys, I don't know who it was, had come and tied like a rope around my leg. And so, stuff like that happens all the time. And you just laugh. And it's part of it. It's part of what makes it fun, and enjoyable.
Well, we're disappointed that you weren't able to bring the kids with you.
Yes, that would have made it even more exciting.
oh, yeah.
Maybe next time.
Well, I think they like their equipment here and all that stuff.
Probably. Well,
I'm sure your boys would like the equipment too.
Yes,
That would be
yes.
nice.
Well, last question. Any just looking back on your startup and the experiences that you guys have had, are there any words of wisdom that you can share with other folks that are starting up their business?
Yeah, I think, really be true to it, whatever it is that you're going to do or thinking about starting up. If it's valuable to you and it's really inside of you and what you want to do, I think it carries you through a lot of the ups and downs, whereas if you weren't, if we didn't embody some of the values and things that we want to do, it would be tough once it got hard to just continue on.
Clearly, you got the passion.
Yeah, exactly. The passion, that's the right word. And then once you determine, who your customer is, that was the biggest thing for us probably, is just to determine who your customer is and go out to those spaces where they are and reach out to them. And that would be the best tip that I could give.
I would just say have a goal and continue to strive for it. Don't let the downs completely turn you off of it, because it's going to happen. There are going to be moments when things aren't going to go your way. There's going to be moments where you think, is this even going to work? And you just have to continue to pursue it. And if something is not working, adjust it. Yeah. You can always change it. You can always figure out what it is that your target customer wants and, just kind of move that direction.
Yeah, don't be afraid to change, because that can be it's one of the scariest things that you can do, but it can also be one of the most beneficial by pivoting or changing if you need to, especially early
new
on.
Facts come up, or
Exactly.
situations that you need to be able to say, hey, we need to move from here to there.
Well, I just hope that our folks are still listening, because I hate to say it, but that was actually better advice than the don't give the robots the chainsaw advice that we got earlier.
Well, it just depends on what part of our audience.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, Megan, Anthony, we very much appreciate you guys joining us today. If people want to find you, where should they be looking online in addition to Instagram?
Yeah, so you can find us. Our website is bornsouthern.com. That's BOURNE, southern.com. And on Instagram and Facebook, we're Born Southern there as well.
Okay. Well, we want everybody to check that out, and very much appreciate you guys sharing the information about
thanks for having
your
us.
story and giving us some ideas on how to make sure that people find you on Instagram. So that was great.
We'll get back to your show in a moment. Just a reminder, you're listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Find out more at themesh.tv and give us feedback on what you like. And now, as promised, back to your show.
So at this point, we like to talk about small businesses that we've come across. Anthony, Megan, you guys got anything you want to kick in there?
I have one. It's a guy I used to work right beside him. His name's Brandon Eichert, and he owns Crazy Customs. And it's a small store in Maiden, right off of Business 321. And he makes he'll make one-off custom design T-shirts for you. So if you have a design that you like or want to do, just go to him, and he'll work it up for you, get it on a T-shirt, and he does them one-off, and they're a great price. And so it's a really cool concept. He likes doing it.
So when people come to you and say, I just want one T-shirt, you send me him.
He's great.
That's perfect.
So that's Crazy Customs, and if people look that up on the internet, they'll probably find Brandon?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, cool.
That's neat.
Gary, what's your small business of the month?
Well, Jeff, my business of the month is located in my wife's favorite place, Charleston. And the business is Callie's Charleston Biscuits, where we just had breakfast last month. Carrie Morey had an early introduction to the food world courtesy of her mother, the caterer extraordinaire, Callie White. Y'all ever been to Callie's Biscuits?
Not yet, but
Sounds like I need to.
you tell us more.
Because there you go. That was just getting that teaser in there. And of course, most of my businesses are around food, kids, or toys.
Okay.
So we're in the
You're in the kill zone there.
We're in my zone, exactly. Callie's unique style, the mom, was Southern fare, and she was booked for years as a caterer from low country food gatherings to chic cocktail parties. So in 2005, Carrie, the daughter, talked her mother out of postponing her retirement so she could start this new business, and all of her fans were excited. They have a successful mail order business of biscuits and 2 shops, one in Charleston and one in Atlanta, and they're called Kaylee's Hot Little Biscuit, which is her small grab-and-go eateries. This one is in the market in Charleston, if you've ever been there. And it's actually in the air-conditioned part of the market, which was even better. But they have all types of biscuits, and we had cinnamon biscuits as well as bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits, and they're fantastic. So, they've been known and recognized by the Today Show, Oprah, the Food Network, Martha Stewart, and many other magazines.
All right.
So please go.
You come up with all these small businesses that have these decadent foods, and yet you maintain your slim figure. How do you do this, Gary?
Stress.
Okay. Well, good for you. My small business of the month. Well, I'm always a sucker for the underdog, and I saw this small business in the paper last month. It's a small used bookstore called River by Books. It's actually a 2-store chain with a flagship store in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and a satellite on Capitol Hill in Washington. They do some online sales as well. Owner Paul Simro is carrying on the business from his father, sells strictly used books, but he's figured out how to make it work. Some things that he focuses on and recommends people focus on. He owns his own real estate, so he's not subject to the crazy whims of a landlord jerking him around on his rent. He also focuses very much on his target audience, and they've made their Capitol Hill store sort of like a neighborhood living room. They provide tea, they provide dog treats, and needless to say, it's a dog-friendly establishment. Most importantly, he understands where to buy his product. He always buys so he can sell a product marked up by 3 times, or at 25% of his selling price. He hits the flea markets. He hits yard sales. He's just got a passion for books. Passion was another thing that came out in his article, like Megan and Anthony. Some highlights that he talks about, because every now and then he finds some diamonds in the rough. He bought a medical book owned by the personal physician of the Confederate General Stonewall Jackson at $5, sold it for $1,000. His biggest payday was a book called The Simple Cobbler of Agawam in America, which was thought to be the first work of fiction in the United States. He purchased it at a yard sale for $2, and he sold it to a collector for $25,000. So he sort of understands his market, understands what people are looking for. And I haven't had a chance to visit River by Books yet, but I'll make a point of it when I travel to D.C. or Fredericksburg, because that's my small business of the month.
I like it.
So, and you can find them at www.riverbybooks. It's RIVERBY books.com. So check them out.
I will do it.
If you've got a suggestion for our Entrepreneur Exchange Small Business of the Month, you can email them to us at eexchange@themesh.tv. Again, we want to thank Megan and Anthony for joining us today, and we hope that you'll check them out at Born Southern at www.bornsouthern.com. We want to thank the Mesh Podcast Network for hosting us. You can visit themesh.tv to see the whole network of Mesh podcasts, and you can subscribe at iTunes Store, and we hope that you'll do that and check more of the podcasts out. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk to you again next month.
Looking forward to it. We're getting close to football season.
Okay. We'll see you then.
Take care. Thank you.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.